Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of ZeroCool's Hard Drive. As we speak, this is episode number 10. We have a very special treat for you today. It is the 21st of June, 2026, and we are recording on Father's Day. So to any of you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Hope you had a good one. But today we decided to change things up, and we actually let the randomizer gods choose 10 episodes of the sci-fi slash horror slash whatever you want to call it classic, The Twilight Zone. So, without further ado, I think we'll just go ahead, launch right in, and start talking about these puppies. So basically how this worked is we took all of the series, plugged it into a random generator, and see what it spit out at us. And it gave us these 10 episodes. I'm not going to go ahead and list them up front. We'll talk about them as we get to them, so you just have to listen in to see which ones we watched. Now, join us as we delve deep into a zone of sight, of sound, of 1507 somethings, otherwise known as the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Let me know what you thought of that, folks. I don't know. I'm just
intro.
trying something out.
Yeah.
That was my best Rod Serling impression. You're not gonna get anything.
Your
better than
voice
that.
was not deep enough for one.
Yeah.
Hey now. I can put on my Barry Manilow.
Pretty hard to do a good one when you don't hear the do 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 do
Oh
in
my
the
god.
background.
By the time we
so-
were all said and done with this, it's just like recurring in the back of my head. It's
Well,
like,
where's
you
my
know-
backup? That
people-
should have been you
it's
guys.
It's a good tune, man.
Oh,
That should have been you guys doing that.
All right, we'll get into some a little bit of trivia for the TV show. Rod Serling actually co-wrote 92 of the 156 episodes.
Hot dang.
He actually wanted it to be hard hitting on social commentary, but network censors and sponsors kept gutting his scripts about the contemporary issues like race and politics, so he disguised them through the aliens, robots, and the magic and the different things that you see in the show. Kind
I
of
kinda caught
almost like Star Trek used to.
I wouldn't say it was
Yeah.
subtle though.
I mean,
I'm
this
sure
is
for
before
the
this is before Star
50s
Trek,
and
but
60s it was subtle, but definitely
for-
these days a little more clued into it.
right.
Oh,
Huh?
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit about Rod Serling. I think everyone should recognize him at this point if they know Twilight Zone. He is the narrator slash writer slash probably filled many other roles in that show. But he was actually born in Syracuse, New York in 1924. Born to a Jewish family, Esther and Sam Serling. I guess his father was a butcher, of all things. They kind of grew up during Depression era, so it seems like they, had the experience of not having a lot growing up. That being said, I guess when he was younger, his father actually built a stage in the basement for him, where it was quoted he would sometimes perform for other children or not. So basically, it sounded kind of like a born performer. However, yeah, he got heavy into radio throughout high school. I think he was part of the high school radio station. And then after high school, he actually went to join the military. Actually ended up seeing combat in the Philippines in the Pacific Theater. Ended up being in part of one of the key operations in retaking Manila in the Philippines, I guess.
Crazy.
Though there were some reports that he was somewhat of a lousy soldier. I kind of heard both sides. I guess he had a penchant for getting lost. Probably not great when you got a platoon depending on you.
Yeah.
But from what it
definitely not.
sounds like, he was fairly decorated when he got out of there. And after that, he kind of went back to his love of radio and television and basically performed various like screenwriting, directing, no acting really, just mostly screenwriting, directing, playwriting, things like that. And I guess interesting fact about the show too was that it was designed to be, or at least most of the episodes were designed to be a pilot for other series, which I did not know.
Really?
So it's kind of like, I guess it was, to your point, right? It was a little bit of that social commentary veiled as, science fiction, but also kind of like a launch pad for some other things.
Yeah, that'd have been
Mhm.
kind of crazy for those
like-
some
I
of
like-
those episodes to become actual TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like the way he did a lot of his descriptions in the beginning. You could tell it was probably not long after like radio was like a primary thing for like some of these stories, because he definitely described a lot of the openings in a way. We open a man by the water kind of thing. So I did a really good job. It was actually pretty interesting to listen to, and I actually kind of enjoyed the acting felt a little bit better. I think we have so much like CGI in every single movie that you watch now is kind of refreshing to see a little bit more genuine acting.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of thought that to myself. I was watching it, right? It's just, hey, there's just two people on a screen or three people on
Yeah.
a screen talking.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
We'll get into
Well,
some
they
of
had to,
the more.
and yeah, they had to be. They were black and white. They had to show the creases on their face and the
Yeah.
emotions like that and all those good things.
Yeah, we'll get into it as we go, but it is especially some like the stunt things they did. I thought it was actually pretty good. So
Well, it sounds like he was really passionate about radio. In fact, a lot of his early career was, I can't remember the name of the station. I should have wrote it down. But there was a station in New York that he worked for. So I guess that was one of his first loves, and also one of his hobbies as a kid was listening to the radio.
yeah, it definitely showed. He did good. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
When you didn't have those moving pictures,
Right.
yeah, you had to listen to them voices.
Just a couple more things. Will Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, George Takei, and James Doohan all starred in an episode in the Twilight Zone. So they had all the Trek guys in there.
So this
At
was
one point in
pretty
time.
much the progenitor to Star Trek, almost.
Pretty
sounds
much.
like.
And then they tried to revive the show after it was canceled in the 80s, 2002, and 2019. And all of them kind of just never recaptured the magic, which I don't know how you can with, like we were talking about, how nice it was and the black and white and the people who were really trying to act. I don't think you could ever really recapture it.
No, and like I also felt like we'll talk through the episodes. Like we're definitely in a time where all of these stories have already been told, and it's just we're always reinventing something that's already been there. Because like I definitely felt that way as I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, this is just like the '60s version of this, or the '60s version of this, and like this feels like a pilot episode for that. I was like, oh,
Yep.
so they just stole everything. And like, it speaks to everything that it is now, like music, movies, all that. It's somebody else had the idea and I just twisted it a little bit. For those that don't know the Twilight Zone, it's basically just like the 60s version of like Black Mirror, right? They just talk through different realities and the potentials of what could be.
Except way less dark.
Yeah, a little more tame.
Yeah.
way
less dark.
way more tame. Way more tame.
Yeah.
But I'm going to echo 100% what you said, Dunkel, in that
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, watching some of these episodes is like, God, that storyline just looks so familiar.
I feel like I've heard this before. I do feel like the one we watched, the second to last one, the Stopover in Quiet Town episode, I feel like I'd seen that one before and I don't know where, which is kind of weird. But who wants to attack our first episode?
All right, so we're going to go ahead, jump right into it. And to start off, our first episode, which would be season 1, episode 12. We think there may be some discrepancies when you're watching these folks, where season number is going to be a little different, or episode numbers may be a little different. So bear with us here. But yeah, season 1, episode 12, titled "What You Need," starring Steve Cochran, Ernest True, and Reed Morgan. All right, and who wants to take this one away and start off?
I mean, I can. I guess we start off in a small little bar. I think it's supposed to be a bar. It kind of seems like maybe almost a cafe type.
I got the impression that it was kind of like a cafe, but
right where
probably a little bit of both.
Where you
I'm
meet
gonna call it a Waffle House.
It definitely could be a Waffle House. It could have been a Waffle House. It definitely could have.
Yeah.
You meet a guy who tells the bartender, or has been sitting there for like an hour. The bartender says, "Hey, you want a drink?" And he's like, "No, I've been good." He's like, "Have you been good for an hour?" And then he tells him something like, "How would you like to fly to the moon?" It's just a really weird way of being like, this guy's tough. He's telling people to fly to the moon.
Well, I'm basically just telling the dude, like, look, man, you buy a drink or get out of here.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Just
in those
trying to-
words necessarily,
just
but
he's just sipping on a whiskey. And then you see a really small older man walk in to the bar, and with, I don't know, knickknacks, I guess, in a briefcase.
Yeah.
And does the bartender explain him right there, or does he explain him a little bit later?
Wasn't until later. So the
Yeah.
old man works his way around the bar, if you would, leading around, asking people what they need. He starts with the guy right next to him, I believe. No, he starts with the young lady.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
starts
starts
that
with the
young
young lady,
lady, and
Yeah,
she's
and
like,
then-
"Well, I'll take some matches."
And he's like, "That's not what you need." And he gives
He's
her
like-
some detergent, basically.
Yeah,
it was
some
a
cleaning
spot
liquid.
remover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll,
that's what it
it'll
was.
clean whatever you need, kind of thing.
My
And then go ahead.
My first thoughts were, don't take liquids from strangers, for one.
It's 19. It's
Well, especially a
And-
random box of knickknacks.
Well, and also, she needed matches.
Yeah,
You don't get to
right?
tell her you don't. Like, I get the storyline, but like, she also wanted matches. So like,
Yeah.
why couldn't she also have the matches?
Yeah, he walks away and like theoretically she's just there with a cigarette. Like, I still need a match.
Yeah, I don't have any matches to light this. Like, I still need matches. Like, no,
hey,
you
he
need
knows what she
You need-
needed. All right.
You need
That
this
is
detergent.
not what you need. Like, who are you? Yeah, and then he works his way up to the countertop and he locks eyes with our first gentleman we talked about, and they just kind of stare at each other, and he has a scared look to his face. And then he kind of turns over to the other gentleman at the bar top saying, same thing. What do you need? Well, I don't know what I need.
Yeah, because the guy at the bar's like, I need a new arm.
Yeah.
because he's like a pitcher who blew out his arm
Yep.
playing for the Phillies or something along those lines, and he just hangs out there in the bar.
Yeah, basically it looked like some down and out major leaguer, just hanging out at the bar.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know what he was waiting for. It just seemed like he was drinking himself
he was just
silly.
I think the bartender just says like he's been in here ever since, drinking it away. Like, I guess that's how it goes sometimes. And then the old guy's like, "This is what you need," and he hands him a train ticket to
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Isn't it Ohio?
No, it's Scranton, Pennsylvania.
No, you're thinking of the Office.
That's what I thought right away. I could have sworn they said Ohio.
No, yeah,
Weird.
the guy's like, what do I want that plane ticket to Scranton, Pennsylvania? Like, what am I going to do there?
A bus ticket.
Oh, it's a bus ticket. Sorry, not plane
Like,
ticket.
what
You're
am I
right.
going to do over there? And the bartender's like, "There's coal mines in Scranton. You can go work the coal mines."
Starts just
with
laughing
your
at him.
busted shoulder.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, the phone rings, and some guy's like, "Hey, man, it's for you." Like, and it really takes me back to that's really how it was back then. Like, you didn't know where anybody was, and it's just random calling.
Yep, he dialed the operator and tried to find somebody.
Yeah, and he goes over and he answers the phone, and he comes out and he's like, "I just got offered a coaching job. You'll never guess where it was." And you're like, "Scranton." And then he looks down at the ticket and he looks at the old man. He's like, "How did you know?" He's like, "It was just what you needed." And he's all excited and everything. He's like, "Oh, awesome. But I look awful right now. I'm so look like I've been in a bar. I got this stain in here. Kind of really need to get cleaned up." And the lady from 10 minutes earlier walks by and she's like, "I've got this liquid."
Yeah, I've got this liquid this guy gave me.
I had to laugh on this
Just a little dab on there will get all this removed off of there.
Because essentially the message was, "Hey, woman, you know what you need? You need a man. And the spot remover will get you a man."
Here's some time to go. You wait for the
much.
dirtiest guy to walk through, and you just dab him up, and there you go.
It's what she needed.
She needed a man. You needed a career. Bam. Done. I hope she likes living in Pennsylvania though, because that's probably going to be the deal here.
Maybe she'll love it. Maybe he'll make a lot of money being a coach in Pennsylvania. Who knows?
In the 50s, it was like, even though when I say no, you keep trying. Please chase me.
But then our a-hole gentleman at the bar starts getting clued into what this guy's doing. He's like, "Yeah, there's something crazy going on here." So when the old guy leaves the bar with his box of knickknacks, which maybe that was a thing back in the 50s and 60s, just selling matches on the street.
I'm sure it was some kind of a job of selling matches and stuff. Yeah.
But he goes outside, and essentially it just accosts the old man. Is like, "Hey, old man, I want something. You got to give me what I need."
Yeah, he calls him Pop the whole time.
Yeah.
Hey, Pop, what are you doing, Pop? What are you doing, Pop? And I want to preface the old guy, for as little and he's supposed to be nice, he's very creepy.
Yeah, he is.
Like when he's getting the vision or whatever, he's just staring these people in the eyes like just the weirdest stare in the.
This is what you need.
I mean, 2026, a guy comes up to me at a bar with a box full of odds and ends and asks if I want something. I'd be like, "No, guy, no."
Be like, "Nah, I'm good." And he's like, "This is what you need." I'm like, bug off.
No, what I need is for you to get out of here because you're creeping me out.
Sound like a drug dealer.
Right. And then so our street tough asks him, says, "Tell me what I need." And he doesn't want to help this street tough, and we don't know why he doesn't want to help him. But he hands him a pair of scissors, and it was something the guy kept saying. He looks at the scissors and goes, "What is this, some kind of gag?" Just like a saying of the day, probably, but I'm gonna start using that now. I think that's a hilarious saying. So, but he does take the scissors with him though.
Gets home to his apartment building. Proceeds to get on. It looks like kind of like one of those old service type elevators.
Yep.
So anyway, gets on the elevator. So he has the scarf on, and as the elevator doors close, the scarf gets stuck in him. And so then the elevator starts ascending. Now, naturally, my mind goes to just take the scarf off, my guy.
That's exactly what I wrote down in my notes. Just take the scarf off. It's not because once he gets away from it after he cuts it, he's not tied up.
No,
it's not tied. So
but he's doing this whole "My God, the scarf is choking me. What am I gonna do?"
And
so instead of pulling it off,
that thing would rip before it strangled him. It's a scarf.
So instead, he pulls scissors out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Cuts the scarf. Okay, yeah, sure, the solution, but there are simpler ways, it seems like to me.
Yeah, he gets that aha moment of holy crap, this guy knows what he's doing, this old guy.
That's right.
And then he goes back, he finds the old guy in his apartment building.
Yeah, he's actually in his apartment.
Yeah, he's in his apartment somehow.
I want to
they never
know,
really
yeah,
said
like
how
how
he
you
figured
tracked down a
that
guy
out.
back in the,
Which is interesting because, like, how did you
60s.
know where he lived? Like, maybe he followed him home.
Maybe, I guess
And
it's
then he just kind
possible.
of starts yelling at him. He goes like, "You need a partner. I'm gonna be your partner, and tell me what I need." And then he ends up just giving him a broken pen or
Yeah,
a leaky pen.
leaky pen.
Yells at him, "What is this for? This doesn't do anything for me." And then like the pen like drips on a newspaper and it's a horse. And he's like, "My God, it landed right next to a horse's name. Look at this." So the guy goes to the horse tracks and he bets on this horse and he makes a whole bunch of money. And some guy walks in with the newspaper for the day and he's gonna try it again. And the pen's out of ink and he's like, "It doesn't work." Goes back to
Yeah,
yell at the man.
it's pretty ridiculous though, because he has all that money just like on the bed, and for some reason it's like the most crumpled money in the history of money.
Yeah.
And when
Well,
he
'cause
goes
he-
to leave the apartment, he just like stuffs
Yeah,
it in
he
his
stuffs
pocket.
it in his side pockets. Like, what are we doing here? Don't
Hey,
and that,
Keep the bills
guy,
organized, my man.
yeah, the bellhop looks at the money on the bed, and he's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "We haven't ever heard of a tip." He's like, "Here's a
Yeah.
tip," and he slams the door on him.
Yeah.
So
in
yeah,
that good old 50s voice, yeah. I got a tip for you. Mind your own business.
I think
Right,
he was
he's-
staring at the money on the bed too, wasn't he?
yeah, he was.
Oh, he
Yeah,
was, yeah.
staring at the money. Yeah, and then so he tries to do that trick again. There's nothing left in the fountain pen, so he gets really mad. Goes to find the old guy again. The old guy really doesn't want to talk to him. He doesn't want to help him anymore because he said he doesn't want to use the power that often for somebody.
Yeah.
And then
Tries to use it for good.
Yep, and then they're both staring at him. He's like threatening him, and he kind of looks at his box, and he's like, "Oh," and he like digs through the box, finds a pair of shoes in the box.
Yep.
Which he's like, "What do these mean?" He's like, he was never explained what they're for. It's what you need. Which this guy is. He either every time he got something, it was either was this some kind of a gag, or he kept asking what it meant. The old guy obviously doesn't tell anybody that information.
Yeah, and like the guy, he puts on the shoes and he's like, "These are too small." And the bottoms are super slippery or something like that.
He's like, they're leather soles. I hate leather soles.
Leather soles.
They're slippery.
So they're slippery. And the old man kind of packs up, starts leaving, walks across the street. He starts going after the old guy, yelling at him, telling him he's going to make his life miserable.
Yep.
Which then you obviously knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Like at this point, when he steps onto the street, it's like, well, I know what's happening next.
Yeah, and he kind of like slips a little bit, and then
he slips a little bit. And then
I enjoyed the way that they put that scene together. I don't know if you caught up onto it. It's like he
The
like
fast forward?
Well, the fast forward. So like slow motion, it was like he walked out, the car slowly like rolls into him, he falls the street. But like this is the 60s, so like they just like sped that part up really quick, so it just falls really weird. And then he recites to the man, he's like, "That was not what you needed. That is what I needed." And that was kind of like my thought of like, oh, that's why the shoes were too small. The shoes are what he needed. But ended up killing the guy, and he kind of goes again on this monologue of like, it's what I needed because he's like, I saw you and I knew you're going to kill me. So what I needed was to get rid of you first. And then this couple steps out onto the street and they just like ask like, what happened? Oh my God. And the old man is just like, hey, something happened. I don't know. And then he like looks at the other guy. He's like, here, you're going to need this. And he hands him a comb. Couple panics. They run forward and look what was happening. And then the photographer walks by and he's like, here, we need a photo for the newspaper, guys. And the guy's like, oh my God, I looked disheveled. What should I do?
Honey, you look like a mess.
Yeah, honey,
you got
look
the
a
comb.
mess.
You got the comb. And then he's like, oh my God. But like, why are we just taking, go ahead.
Starts all over again.
Yeah, and it's like my random thought was like, why are we just taking a random, like I get for the bit, but like why in a homicide are we just like, hey, couple, you were on the street when this happened? Here you go.
Well, I mean, like back in the day, they had to have a good photo for the paper, so I'm sure it was supposed to be like shocked residents at the scene of a crime type of thing.
But basically, like, and I know people can't see me, but they're like standing over there going like, hey,
they're like thumbs up, smiling.
Yeah, we were here.
It was like one of those like, you know, cultural moments where you're like, oh yeah, back then it's like, oh, I gotta look acceptable. I gotta have my hair combed. I gotta
exactly. So yeah, that was that episode. Then we headed to season 2, episode 6, Eye of the Beholder, which I'm guessing a lot of people, if they ever watched Twilight Zone, would remember this one.
Now, if you haven't even watched Twilight Zone, the reference will be familiar because I'm pretty sure a lot of shows have referenced this before.
I would guess so too. So it starts out in a hospital. A lady with bandages all over her face is talking to a nurse about when they can take the bandages off or when she can leave the hospital. And I thought it was just really funny because of how like today is where people like to insult each other, but she was like just straight up, well, when they fix your face, you can leave. It was like,
Yeah.
holy crap. This is like she was like telling
Yeah.
her what was gonna happen, but it was like, when you can fix your face, like
Sorry,
Jesus.
lady. Like,
Yeah, and it was something like, and I the numbers escape me, but they're like, yeah, this is like the 6th like injection we've tried for you.
no, it
You
was
know,
the
11th.
10th
the
or
10th
11th operation.
Yeah,
I
and
wrote
you're
it.
There's
I
a
wrote that
state
down
mandated 11 or something like that.
Yeah,
because
it's just
I,
like,
I wrote down why 11. Why that's a weird number to hit. 11
yeah, it's the
experiments.
state. Yeah, it's the state limit, and if we didn't fix your face this time, we're gonna send you to a camp of just your kind of ugly people. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
thinking back to like what you spoke about in the beginning, it's how he was like undertying some of like the things that they weren't willing for him to talk about. It was just his way of hiding it, and yeah, it's pretty interesting actually.
Yeah, I thought it was really like, for being her face covered the whole time, that actress did a really good job of like showing emotions, and when she was yelling, like you could kind of picture her face and stuff. But
Yep.
the doctor, he has a bunch of scenes where he's like supposed to be yelling, but his voice never changes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught that. He's like supposed to be like yelling. He's like trying to calm her down or something like that. And he's always just like, calm down, miss. Like, but he's supposed to be like his character's supposed to be like, calm down. But he's just like, yeah, calm down, miss. Like, no, that's, I don't know.
And you kind of get a hint at like, this is not like a regular universe kind of thing, because anytime anybody was talking, it was always like blurred out faces or like perfectly standing in front of each other kind of thing. And like they're doing such a good job of that. So then they kind of get towards the end of this and they're just like, okay, like we're gonna do it. Like she's panicking. She's like, I want these bandages off. I want to get out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. I want the outside world. They're like, okay, fine.
Well, real quick though, if we can rewind a little bit in the episode. So they kind of there was like this, there was almost like this Hitler-esque figure who I guess is like
dictator,
the dictator of the country.
That they just called leader.
I thought it was kind of interesting though, because like it seemed like it was in the future at some point, because they had this like television screen that comes down from the ceiling, and it was like this, kind of thin, transparent projector type thing.
I
thought it was like for the 60s, it was pretty imaginative, and like
with
fairly
leader talking about glorious conformity. That's what
glorious conformity.
That's what I wrote down. That was what I heard mostly. Was glorious conformity from leader.
Yeah, so they tell her, okay, we're gonna. They talked about her eyes a lot, letting her eyes adjust when they're cutting these bandages off. Like, okay, one at a time. I'm okay. And to shock her, they take all of her bandages off, and she's a fairly attractive woman. And she's sitting there, and they're like, "Oh my god, it didn't work!" And then
they're all just like freaking out.
Yeah, like it didn't work. And you turn and look at everybody, and they have essentially what I would call a pig nose with like a little top lip to the side.
Definitely a pig face, for sure.
Yeah.
And
they're
faces.
like, ma'am, it's okay. We have a place for you. Like, you're gonna be fine. And they take her to this other room with this regular looking guy, and like, we're gonna take you to a place with the rest of us.
Yeah, but first she runs through the hospital like she's gonna escape to somewhere, like she was actually gonna do something. But I did note a really funny part when she's running. The glorious leader comes down, and then you see obviously he's also a pig face, but she throws something at that screen.
Yep,
and it just shuts off.
Yeah.
That was, like, it doesn't break, it doesn't go back up or anything. It just literally just like clicks off, and I thought that was so funny. It just like they obviously didn't have a lot of special effects, but it was just like she chucked something at it, it's just like blip. This is like she hit the off button.
Yeah.
But yeah, they bring her to a guy who's supposed to be, like obviously like her sort of attractive 50s guy, but he sounds like a creepy cult leader the whole time.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the idea. Like, I got like a little Hitler vibes, but also like you can tell they're speaking to like some type of segregation, but also like they're okay with it. It's like, it's not that we're gonna kill you, but like we're just gonna have you live in the town over.
Yeah, you're gonna come live with the uglies,
right? We're not gonna
live with the uglies. Yeah,
we're not gonna arrest you or nothing. We're just gonna be like, no, you need to live over there, like
the non-conformists.
Yeah, and then it just feels like a romantic ending of like her and this guy like going off into the end of the hotel or the end of the hospital saying, okay, we're on to our different town.
Yep, we're off to the ugly town.
And then you kind of get the commentator going again, like, and I felt that way in a lot of it. Like, there's a lot of like, he kind of life lessons a lot of the episodes. Like, it just proves to the point that, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And
old Rod Serling taking us through the world.
Yeah,
Off-
love that reaction
Off
too.
topic, but every time they said his name, this is very much like a millennial thing for me. I thought of the YouTube thing for Scott Sterling, and I just couldn't forget it.
Who's Scott's? Oh,
I don't even know who
man.
that is.
We'll talk about this at a different time, but I couldn't get over it.
Sorry, audience out there. For us
Yeah.
old people, I'm
Right.
kind of unfamiliar with that name.
Not sure. So yeah, we go to season 2, episode 7, Nick of Time,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yes, Nick of Time, starring William Shatner
starring
Patricia
William
Breslin.
Shatner.
and Guy Wilkerson. And if you don't know who William Shatner is, crawl out from under that rock.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's still doing commercials. I saw him in a commercial the other day.
100%. Still doing television shows.
Yeah, so it starts out with William Shatner and his, you find out his fiance are getting towed in the back of, getting towed by a truck to a mechanic. He tells them that it's going to be, I think it was 4, I wrote down 4 hours.
4 hours,
yeah. For, I guess, like a fuel pump or something. And
yeah, it was a fuel pump. He's like, they don't have one here, but we can get one from like a town over or something like that.
To me, they make it seem like 4 hours is such a long time when this guy's calling for a part from another town to bring it here and fix it in 4 hours is not that long. That's not a large amount of time.
That'd easily be a 2-day affair these days,
Oh,
if
yeah.
not 3-day affair.
I mean, yeah, to get the part there, to get the guy to fix the part. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy.
And basically just like, same time service too. Just roll right into the mechanic shop. He'll start fixing it.
Yeah.
And off we go.
Yeah. So they find a nice little cafe to go sit down at.
Now, I should note that, like, they're definitely giving the impression this young couple is, like, we'll say a big city couple, because they're kind of commentating on how slow and boring the town is as they're going through.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
yeah.
do you think there's actually anything to do here for 4 hours?
Talking about how he's going to be a big shot.
Yeah, what was it? Big
office
shot?
manager.
Office manager, yeah,
the youngest office manager ever is what he says, which I was like, how do you know that you're the youngest ever? This is 1960. You can't just
maybe he was just talking about the company he was working for.
You can't just look up who the youngest is. But they sit down at the cafe. They kind of see the little thing that's telling them it's like a fortune teller machine that takes pennies with a little devil head on it. So he's like, hey, let's ask it a question. So they put a penny in there and he asks, am I going to get the promotion? I believe is what he asks, right? And it says, your
chances are good or something
chances
like that?
are good or something. It was generic. Obviously it was a penny machine. He's like, I gotta call the office and see. So he calls the office, only talks to the secretary of the office who tells him he got the job, which I thought was odd. That the secretary would be the one who's telling him that he got the job.
Hey, it's a 60s band. Things were probably different back then.
Probably.
I'm sure that was how things were done.
So then they get the little happy. They're happy. I did write down though. The guy tells them that he has really good chicken fried steak, but they order tomato and lettuce on bread and two iced coffees.
Like, I mean, like fast forward to now, right? And that's kind of like that would be like your almost stereotypical, like hipster-ish type people walking into. I guess.
Honestly, I didn't realize they were doing iced coffees back then, to be honest with you.
No, that was the kind of alarming. I'm like, that was a thing back in the 60s too?
But yeah, tomato and lettuce on bread. Like, what are we doing here?
And it was also like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. And then the guy's like, we got really good chicken fried steak. And then he brings them their food and he tells them that they should still go with the chicken fried steak. And I was like, they already have their other food. So they're going to eat that on top of the chicken fried steak now? That's what you're trying to tell them to do?
I was finding it it felt very foreboding, the fact that he was like pushing the chicken fried steak so hard. I'm like, is that going to be relevant to the story here?
You would think that it would be relevant to the
chicken
story.
fried steak. But it never actually comes to anything.
So it keeps going. Dawn is William Shatner's character, keeps putting pennies in and asking questions, asks it if they should leave, tells them not to leave until 3:00 or something like that. He really believes it. He keeps he keeps buying more stuff, like, oh, don't you want ice cream? Don't you want this? Like wasting time. So it gets to 3:00 so they don't, something doesn't happen at 3:00.
Yeah. And then they end up walking out at 2:55 and they get across the street and it hits right about 3:00 and his wife, if you would, almost gets hit by a car. And then they both start kind of panicking because he looks at the clock right away and he's like, that was 3:00. And then they start kind of going through their superstitious thoughts of like, maybe we should just go back to the restaurant. He's like,
he wants to go back. She's kind of like, Dawn, you're a crazy person. But like that scene where they're like almost get hit, like they walk in front of like a moving truck and almost get hit by somebody going around it. But why were they walking in front of the moving truck to begin with? Like, just wait for like
Yeah.
5 seconds.
100%.
But yeah,
But
so
yeah.
they go back to the cafe.
Yep.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Houseman.
go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they go back to the cafe, and at that point, like basically Don, I guess you could say, has gone over the edge. You can tell he probably has somewhat of a gambling personality to him or something, because at this point, or really superstitious personality.
Yeah, and he
Because at
brings that
this
up
point,
too.
he's really like invested in like, oh my gosh, we got to ask this machine all these questions. We got to know what to do. It could tell us, what we need to know. And the wife at this point is actually like believing it, because she's like, yeah, it's probably more than coincidence that it happened. But she's like, are you going to let your fate be controlled by this machine? Or are we just going to
Right.
go out there and live our lives?
Yeah, I was really, really hoping they were gonna show the cook, the owner back there, just like laughing at these yokels in his town, just dumping these pennies. Like, this is why I put these on here.
Yep.
Give me them pennies. That
That's
you never
it.
got
He's
that
like-
pay. You never got that payoff really either, though.
Or at least
Right.
grumbling about chicken fried steak as they left.
Yeah, he's just
That would have been a nice
passive
payoff.
income. Yes.
Yeah. He did come back and order 2 more iced coffees. So like these guys were just riding high on the coffee too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they keep doing it. You get a bunch of arguments. She finally convinces him that they need to go, but that's after the machine tells them that the car is going to be ready early, which it
Mhm.
is. But yeah, she tells them that they got to go. They got to get out of this town. She doesn't want to be there anymore. He finally believes her. And then you get that little bit of a Twilight Zone twist where another couple comes in looking kind of haggard, raggedy, sits down at the machine.
Disheveled.
Yeah, disheveled. Asks the machine if they can leave the town yet, and
Mhm.
what you're led to believe is that it says no, and they both kind of look just downtrodden. He keeps putting pennies, and then it's like, this is the cycle. This is where Dawn
So,
could have
yeah,
been.
You can basically tell this couple's probably been there for a while and
Yeah.
is just too scared to leave now.
Yep, believed in it too much, and that was the episode.
Yeah. And
Nick
then
of time.
and then
Nick
you
of
kind of
time.
get him at the end saying you're stuck on 2 realities: the couple that decided to make their own fate, and the couple that got locked in,
Yep,
afraid forever.
yep.
I do
Afraid
appreciate the
forever.
little Rod Serling interludes. Those are kind of nice. It's,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
are nice. Yeah,
I miss that kind of narration and setup.
and
that
they
used to
introduce
have in older
the
shows.
characters a little bit. They tell a little story. It always ends with like they've stepped into the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Or even like the way he like locations it a little bit too, because this one he talks about this one's just on the very, very edge of the Twilight Zone and very barely escaped it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into season 3, episode 3, The Mirror.
And that is starring, as most might recognize, Peter Falk. One of his bigger roles, Columbo. I'm sure some people know him from that. Will Kaluva and Anthony Carbo.
Yeah, so this one starts out, we get after a revolution has happened. They're very much dressed like, I would say,
And
Cuban.
it's the Cuban Revolution.
Right,
They're
it's like the
basically doing
Cuban Revolution.
Yeah.
You get a leader who's getting chanted to, or the guy who's the leader of the revolution. He's all happy and going. He turns around. He has some lieutenants there who stand the whole time. I was like, let them sit down. They just won the revolution. But that's like whatever. They're all standing there. He like goes through and says like, this guy the loyal, this guy the quiet one, this guy the strong one or something. I can't remember all the ones that they go through there.
It was almost like this Three Little Pigs-esque, like,
Yeah,
hey, here's the characters.
right.
Or no, more like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's what I was trying to think of.
So yeah, they're talking. They're having some drinks. They're saluting. They're giving it up for winning the revolution. And then they bring in the old dictator who they overthrew in there. And
Quick aside though, like this part, right? It was the 50s and 60s, so I gave it some slack. But it's basically 4 white dudes playing like,
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
these like Latino revolutionary leaders.
Yeah,
So
the
it was
accent,
kind of
the
funny.
accents were terrible or not even there at all.
Awful. Yes, awful. And they'd like, you could tell they'd kind of lapse out of them when they were doing certain scenes or when it got too emotional.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so the ex-leader comes in. I love how he like pulls no punches, because he's like, you're just a worker of dirt. Like,
Oh yeah, it's like, you guys are peasants. Like,
you're from the
you
dirt.
don't
I
understand.
hate you guys. Yeah, just something crazy along those
Like,
lines.
dude knows he's about to get like probably executed in some form or fashion, and he's just completely gloating, like, I don't care what you do to me. You're all just peasants. You're all gonna be the same anyway.
Yep. And then I love how he like walks. Oh, first he tells him this really weird, I put really weird drinking game. He tells him he's gonna cover him in honey, tie him up, and let the ants take him. And he's gonna take a drink every time he screams. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, you're a weird guy already. Like, this is crazy.
I mean, that I'd be scared if somebody threatened me with that.
Yeah, for sure. So like, yeah, and he talks about how they're gonna go corrupt and things like that, and then they're taking him out of the room, and he goes, "I see you found my mirror," and I was like, "The mirror on the wall that's hanging there? How? What do you mean you found it? Like, no one even mentioned the mirror." And you're like, I see you found my mirror here." Like, no, it's on the wall by the door, so everyone would see it.
You can tell it was a difficult segue for him, like trying to get.
Yeah, it was for sure. Like, I don't know, it was very weird. He tells him that the mirror shows you your assassins, is what he says, and then they take him out of the room, and then I can't remember what the guys. The main guy.
Yeah, I forgot. I am drawing a blank of the
Yeah.
names too.
So the guy who was like the leader of the revolution decides that he's gonna have all 1,000 prisoners killed. So I was like, oh, we're already corrupt. We are already going down this rabbit hole of badness.
And then his right-hand man decides to call him out on it, like, hey, this is not what we signed up for. What are you doing? We're no better than the previous administration or whatever you would want to call it.
Yep. So he sends 3 of the other guys out to go do that. The main guy stays, talks to him a little bit. The main guy then looks into the mirror and sees his lieutenant pointing a gun at him. And he turns around and he's not pointing a gun at him. He's just like looking at a glass of whiskey. And he looks back and he's doing it again. So he turns around and he shoots him,
Yep.
right? Or he says something like, "I knew it was going to be you. It was always going to be you." And then he shoots him.
Yeah, because I think it was like he was offering. He was shooting him? Oh yeah, he like pulled this gun out and yeah, you're right. He was gonna shoot him.
Yeah, he had a machine gun. Yeah, that he was like turning around with. Then he turns around. He says something like, "I knew it was going to be you," and the other guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Then it cuts to like the next day. You can hear the gunshots in the background. Obviously, they're still executing prisoners because it takes a long time, obviously, to execute 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are all kind of like, you could tell that they didn't agree with that. And then the quiet one says that he's not okay with any of the things that he's doing, including the executions, killing the other guy. And then one of the other guys jumps in with the quiet one to like kind of be like, "Hey, we got to stop this." And he's like, "You guys need to go and check on the ex-president right now. You got to go down to the jail. I want to make sure he's being watched."
And this I thought was like,
he sees him in the mirror doing something, right? I feel like he goes to the mirror again and he sees those two doing something. I can't remember what he sees them doing.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah,
but
so
anyway,
he sees them. He sees his would-be assassins, and he sends them off to the prison to go see if the ex-president is still good there.
And then this part seemed really out of character for him in that he calls to the prison, like the front office at the prison, and says like, "Hey, you're gonna have these 2 guys showing up. They're like political dissidents or enemies of the state, something like that. So I need you to shoot them when they arrive." Which I thought was like, I mean, like, at least you had the, dignity to just do the other guy to his face. But these guys, no, you're just going to send them down to the prison and have the guards off him.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Yep. So he does that. The other lieutenant who stays definitely on his side also seems kind of like a crazy person for most of this episode. So they get the phone call. Those guys are dead. You get some weird conversations with him and the lieutenant that's left about this. Lieutenant basically thinks he's better than the leader, right? Did you get that?
Yeah, he was very like blunt with him because he's like, the only reason like I'm not where you are right now is because right now you're more powerful than I am. But when I'm more powerful, like I'm absolutely gonna take over.
Yeah, my only thought was like, does that guy want to get murdered? Like he's murdering all these other people for standing up to him, and now this guy's just straight up being like, "I'm a better man than you. Like I would be way better at this job than you, like this and that."
I think this guy was just trying to play it real. Like, hey,
yeah,
I understand what you're doing. I'm behind it right now. That's fine.
Right. He says something along the lines of like, "The spoils are better split 2 ways than 5 anyway," or something like that. Just cold, something
brutal.
Like that. And then obviously the leader goes to the mirror again and sees his last lieutenant spiking his drink with poison, I believe, or holding a glass with poison in it, or what you're supposed to be led to believe is poison. So that's how he's going to get assassinated there. Those two kind of have it out. He ends up shooting that guy also, right? I think that's how that goes down too.
Yeah, he ends up shooting that guy because I think the guy was explaining like, look, if I was to like take you out, it would not be with poison in a glass of wine.
Right, it'd be like facing you or something.
I just want to share a glass of wine with a friend.
Right. And then so he shoots that guy. You go to like the next day, you still hear gunshots in the background. So like obviously the executions are still happening. And Catholic priest comes in, Catholic father comes in to talk to him about ending it. Like, nobody wants this. Everybody's mad at you, basically.
For
Obviously,
lack of a better term, chastising him, basically. Like,
yeah, obviously he's not going to kill the father, and the father has some lines in there where you can see where like Rod Serling kind of added true life things where he's like, all the dictators are all the same. Everybody, this always leads, absolute corruption type of thing. Absolute power leads to corruption.
Yeah, I did
And
think it was
then-
interesting that they're trying to like portray it as Fidel Castro.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
for sure. It was for sure like that. And then they so then the priest leaves. Then not much really happens there. Like, right, the priest kind of gives him a speech. He leaves.
Well, like, yeah, Peter Falk, can't remember his character's name, but anyway, he freaks out. He actually ends up throwing a gun at the mirror, breaks it.
Yep.
But then it was after the father leaves the room that he hears a gunshot on the other side of the door.
Yep. And then
And
they
this
find
one,
him.
I mean, I didn't know Twilight Zone was going to go that far, but right, they go back in the room, and there you have the general.
Yep, on the ground.
Dead on the ground with a gunshot wound.
Yeah,
Apparently
and-
self-inflicted.
And then you get Rod Serling doing his little, send off. I really liked his line. A would-be god in dungarees is what he says.
Dungarees.
The heck?
Yeah, a would-be god in dungarees. I was like, I got to write that down. That's hilarious. So yeah, that was episode
The
was it
Mirror.
3? The Mirror.
The Mirror. And now we move on to what was this? Episode
3 or episode 16, season 3, Nothing in the Dark.
Yep. Nothing in the Dark. Who wants to open this one up? Dunkel?
Yeah, this one kind of opens with an older lady like locked into her house, and you kind of see she's got everything boarded up and she sees people walking by. This one felt pretty straightforward to me. She kind of gets what she hears is a young man. I think he says he's a cop. He gets shot, I think.
Yeah, he's like, it's really weird because he's like outside her door crouching, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't really see him that good, but he's like crouching. And then, she kind of goes and locks the door, and then you hear a gunshot. And then,
He's like, oh my God, you need to help me. And she's like, I can't do it. He'll get me. And like, what are you talking about? And he's like, if you don't help me, I'm going to die. And I can't remember if it's before she lets him in or afterwards, where she kind of gets into like her story about
after,
I can't because you might be death. But
anyway,
anyway,
you might be Mr. Death. Yeah.
Yeah, she opens the door. She like goes out and like puts her hands on him, and she's like, I didn't die.
I'm not dead.
Yeah, and she brings him inside, and he kind of like, I'm assuming,
which is really weird because he goes from I can't move at all to literally crawling because she can barely pick him up.
Yeah.
So I was like, continuity a little bit. Like, she doesn't drag him. He starts crawling and then stands up a little bit.
Yeah, like I can't move anywhere, but just a little bit. So he kind of gets her inside. She makes him something to drink, and then she kind of explains the situation that she's in and the reason why. How years ago, I believe she said she was on a train, is what she mentioned. That
a train or a bus or something like that.
Yeah, she saw a man touch an older lady's hand, and by the time the train was over with, he had got off the train and she had died. And he kind of like trying to reasons with her. And it's just like, well, you did say she was like an older lady. But she's like, yeah, but I feel like I've kept on seeing this man over and over again throughout my life. So I'm constantly trying to avoid him. He's telling me that he's the utility man. He's telling me that he's some construction guy. And he's like, well, shouldn't it be easy to like go out into the world if you know what he looks like? And she's like, no, he changes his appearance every time. I was like, so you don't know what he looks like? And he's like, well, how do you get food? I'm like, how do you leave this place? She's like, I don't. I have some kid get food for me. So they're kind of starting to become friendly. And then you kind of get a knock on the door, and it actually is a construction worker. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to come in. This place is condemned. You're the only person that's left.
Yeah, she had mentioned that was one of the people who she was pretty sure was death before, though. Somebody trying to condemn the place.
Yeah, and then she's kind of like, he's like, I can't do this anymore. I need to come in. And he just like rams through the door, and she kind of falls on the floor.
Falls on the floor very weirdly.
Yeah, kind of back to like the car accident scene with
She's
the guy getting
like,
ran over, where it's just like, oh no.
Buckles and lays down.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you get the guy. She wakes up and he's like, I didn't mean to scare you like that. I thought you died, basically.
Mhm.
And then you notice that the cop and him don't talk whatsoever. He doesn't even notice the cop in the corner who's supposed to be sitting there, hurt, wants to get out of there.
Yeah, he does mention like, lady, if you don't get out of here, like I'm gonna have to call the cops and you need to leave. And then she just essentially says like, well, there's a cop right here. And she like points over to the corner of the room and he kind of like looks at her weird, like, what? There's nothing going on there.
And the one thing I noted to myself and listening like to the dialogue between her and like it was like the supervisor
Construction,
for some
yeah,
construction team, right?
Foreman,
Yeah,
if you would.
is that it was kind of like almost like a mini breakdown of the episode itself. Cause like, they definitely make references like, oh no, lady, we got to tear down the old to make way for the new,
Yep.
Cause
Yeah,
like, the whole episode is kind of,
the whole
it's like
episode
this
was
theme
that,
of like,
that, yeah.
I'm too scared to go outside. I know I want what's familiar out there.
At one
things
point
are
it's
gonna
like
kill me.
old people die. That's what they do.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
they
yeah.
definitely hit like the old buildings get old and we need to get rid of them and put up new ones. Kind of like people, and like
exactly.
kind of hitting on like the lady, you just need to die.
But I did like it though. I mean, I understand it was like not very subtle at all.
Yeah,
But I did actually appreciate that kind of nod to, hey, don't be scared, lady. It's just this is progress. You got to live with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. And then she kind of goes back. He leaves and he's like, you got to figure this out, like you whatever. And then she slowly realizes after that man left, she looks back at the police officer. And I don't think they really exchanged names, did they?
No,
I don't think
and
so.
she's just like, wait, it's you. He didn't see you sitting over there. And he's like,
oh wait, no. In my notes, actually, they did exchange names.
did they?
Okay.
Harold Belden.
Okay,
Harold
yeah. And she's
Belden.
like, he looks right at you and he didn't see you. And he's like, it is me. So he was death the whole time. And then he's just kind of like giving her like this, it's going to be okay. And then she slowly starts to reason with it where she's like, but it's going to hurt. Okay. Like, when are we going to do this? And he's kind of like, ma'am, look.
Yeah,
He's
we've
like,
already done it.
We're
He's like,
already on
yeah.
this journey. You're
tries to
still
be
on
her
that
friend.
bed. Yeah. And she's like, and he tells her, he's like, you thought I was a scary person and I wanted to let you know that I'm not scary.
Yeah,
And I actually thought it was a kind of sweet, heartfelt episode, actually. It wasn't this like kind of like, somewhat dark twist at the end or anything like that. It was just like, hey, come with me. And like, there's just this kind of peaceful stroll off into the afterlife.
Yeah. I also thought though that it's ridiculous that Death couldn't get through the door just to kill her. I mean, like,
it might be one of
let's be
those
real.
thing. Like, it depends on how deep you get into it. Like, there's some people that are like, the supernaturals of the world are like, oh, they have to be welcomed across the threshold kind of thing. So I don't know if they were going that deep for it or if he was
like
just
the vampire thing or
Yeah,
something.
Well,
right?
my
But,
whole
like,
thing
or-
was like, Death can pretend to be a cop, make the shooting sound happen, and the car pulling away, screeching. He can't get through the door. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, what are we
we're-
doing here?
We're probably going to get eaten alive from the supernaturals of the world, but I believe Death is considered like of demon nature where like he can't cross unless you're welcomed in kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of some of that movie fiction, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, yeah. And again, I don't know if they were thinking that deep with it, or like you could overthink it and think, well, Death was like, I didn't want to scare her. I wanted her to know that this is a peaceful, safe journey for her. And he's not just going to bang her like, hey, your time. Done.
Yeah, he is.
Sick
That's
of this.
exactly, That's exactly what it should have been. But yeah.
Now, ashamedly, for the first few minutes of this episode, because like everything was barred up and she had like chairs stacked up, I was thinking to myself, is this like Escape from New York? It's just this like absolutely crime-ridden war zone that she lives in.
Kind of what it
to,
seemed like, yeah.
because there was the cop outside, kind of like huddled down, and it wasn't looking inside or anything, but you could tell some stuff was going on out there. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, could she just not go outside because it's just a hellscape?
Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it
so
was,
that was nothing in the dark.
yeah, pretty genuine episode. It wasn't,
Kind of like a somewhat solemn tale of just, accepting change and moving on.
Then we got to season 3, episode 20, Showdown with Rance McGrew, which I wrote the fewest amount of notes because I didn't care for this episode whatsoever.
I'll be honest. I did that with the episode before because I was like, this one's straight to the point. Death is inevitable. It's your time. I actually had more notes for Showdown with Rance because I did think it was kind of a funny episode.
Oh yeah.
It kind of starts
I just
out
couldn't
with like
stand them.
I mean, that's the point.
It was supposed to be this just a-hole.
He's this Western guy who's like getting after all the bad guys of the time, and it's like I forget the names. We're like all like the bad cowboys of the time. Is like
Jesse James and them.
Jesse James
and
yeah.
Wild Bill,
the kid,
all those guys.
Billy the Kid. So his TV show is based off of him just like always getting after these bad guys. So you kind of get into like, first he's like, they give him a gun for one of these scenes, and that's the first thing I remember. He's just sitting there doing what everybody does when they get like a little stick shooting. He's sitting there like flinging it around his finger back and forth. He's like, yeah, and like he just launches it into this mirror, shatters it, which starts the running joke that he keeps on wrecking this mirror on accident.
Yeah, the one
and
mirror in there. Yeah,
and the prop guy that's like sitting above the whole studio is just like, God, every time.
yeah, and then they bet on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And the director is just the director. Like, I loved his performance in this episode. Right, he was just livid, like with him this whole time, because it's just like, I have to cow down to this, big star, because like he's making the studio lots of money. I got to do what he says. But God, this guy's annoying.
Speaking of big star,
about it.
how is he a big star?
It was the 50s, man. Spaghetti westerns.
No.
Oh yeah.
As big stars go, he was absolutely terrible.
As long as you were a cool-looking dude with a 6-shooter and a cowboy outfit, I'm pretty sure you can make it.
The only thing is the actor that played the bad actor was so good at bad acting that he was bad actor. Like, that's the only thing you could take away. Like,
you could tell he was kind of like on the twilight of his career, I guess you could say. Oh my gosh. Because he was talking at one point like
very
doing it for the what do you call it? The residuals.
For the residuals, yeah. Rod Serling, when he does his little intro thing, he says a 3-a-week liar or something along those lines. Fun fact, that's $33,000 a week these days would be how much he was getting
God
paid.
Dang. That guy was rich.
Yep. That made me think back to the gentleman that won the money on the horse, like to $260, is the equivalent of like $3,000 that he'd won. I was like, damn, the money transfer.
Yeah, it's like you 10 times it or something like that when I was looking up stuff.
Yeah, so then they jump into him doing his scenes, and like, so he's doing all these like bar scenes, and like some guy's about to swing on him, and he's like, stunt double, and like it does it like 6 times. He about to get slammed in the face, like dive on it, stunt double. So they get to the end of the day, and they're like kind of talking with him, and then like you just see his stunt double walking by, just completely beat to hell,
beat up, bruises,
and he
all
just
over
looks at
his
he's like,
face.
hey man, good work today, you did a good job. And he walks away.
Yeah. Sure.
Before that, I did want to talk about he asks for whiskey and he misses it the first time.
Yeah,
and he tells me he's like he put English on it. And it's like okay, on all you guys like on a whiskey bottle.
How do you put English on a whiskey bottle?
So he grabs it again, but he grabs it with the wrong hand.
I know, I hated that.
Which nobody says it, but then he instead of just opening the whiskey, he breaks it on the bar.
Well, he tries like twice and he doesn't get it, and then he finally gets it.
Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous.
And then he takes a swig of the whiskey.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part. He takes a swig. Then he gets a look at his face, and there's like something in his mouth, and he takes out this piece of glass.
It's like a real like I'm just a badass kind of moment. Like, so they kind of continue forward into him doing these scenes, and they get into this back and forth about like how he wants ginger ale and not cola, and like the director's like, we need to make it look like whiskey. I want ginger ale. All right, fine, give him ginger ale, whatever. He takes a swig as they start the scene, and then you kind of get like this transformation of like the universe that he's in, and it goes into like him yelling like, oh my God, that's real whiskey. And he turns around and he's in a regular bar. And then the people kind of start talking, and like Jesse James is on his way. So you get this reincarnation of Jesse James. They kind of meet up in the bar, and he starts yelling at him like, us and the boys, like Billy and the Kid and them, I'm guessing they're talking from like a
who are in heaven
or hell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was like an angels in the outfield situation, is the impression I got.
The worst,
like angels in the outfield, but
people
old.
of the Wild West are in heaven.
Yeah.
So they're looking
Western
down.
Outlaws, angels in the outfield style.
So he's like, we're looking down at you, and you know what? You keep winning, and you've never lost, and we're going to need to change that. So then you kind of get just Jesse James telling him like how these scenes are going to go for him going forward after he puts him through all this hell of like, nope, this is how it's going to go for you, and I just need one thing from you.
Yeah, he goes to have a showdown with him outside, and Ranswinger just hides behind the building. Yeah, like for like almost the whole time, he's like, we're gonna walk towards each other, and then we're gonna shoot, and he like hides behind the building for the entire time. Jesse James is walking.
Yeah, before that, he's like, we're gonna do that tomorrow, right? Like not today. He's like, no, like now, like but tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, no,
okay,
not
so
tomorrow,
like
right
setting
now,
the tone
outside.
of like, okay, he's terrified, and then he starts reading through all of like these scenes of like how he's always been a winner. And like the one was like he was staring down at Jesse James or Billy the Kid, I think it was, and he was holding a can or a a lamppost or like a lamp from like your living room, and it was like 400 feet down. He said, and he like threw it down at him, hit him.
Yeah, that
So,
was
like,
that
all
was
these,
more
like-
towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the other one was like you jumped 800 feet off a building and landed on the back of his horse. And he's like, "Have you ever done that?"
Yeah.
Do you just imagine like, like
And
that?
it's like, you got to give the audience what they want, you know? It's,
yeah.
But
He
800
tells me
feet
he's-
onto a horse? What are we
He
doing?
tells me he's gonna take the shine off his pants, which I was like, what does that even mean? The
50s guys.
shine off your pants.
Well, they were
50s.
leather. I don't know.
Yeah. So then, yeah,
Go ahead.
he ends up going back to the normal time. Everybody, it looks like no time has changed whatsoever. It was like basically right when he started drinking.
What do you mean it's whiskey? That's ginger ale, like you asked for.
Yeah, right back to that scene, and then somebody comes in and says, "Your what's the word? Agent." That's the word.
Yeah. Oh, your agent's
yeah,
outside.
your agent's outside. He's like, "My agent."
Yeah. The
And then
director's
the
like, I don't know how
director's
this
like-
hierarchy works.
Yeah, I don't know how this hierarchy works. You better go talk to him. Like, what does that even?
Mhm.
I don't. The hierarchy of agent to director. I would say the director wins, but
Right.
So he steps outside, and here's Jesse James now wearing a beret, a Hawaiian shirt, and some slacks.
that was
So
like the only
it
part I
seems
actually
like
liked.
settled
It
into
was
like some
oh
Hollywood
my gosh.
lifestyle
Now we're
almost
in the
instantly.
Hawaii 5-0.
Yep, and he's like, instead of Jesse James shooting you in the back, he's gonna throw you through that window over there. And he's like,
and he's
"What?"
gonna get away.
Yep.
He's like,
"Yep,
yeah, that's how it's gonna
that's
happen.
how it's gonna happen." And then he gets chucked through the window, and then he doesn't even go back to film. They both just take off. He like
Yeah.
throws him in
Yeah.
the car, and he's like, "Here's how we're gonna change everything else." And they just leave. They just leave the set. Like, I guess they were done here.
It was a bit of a weird one, I'll be honest, right? With the whole like Jesse James and old
Oh,
outlaw angles.
I
but
couldn't stand
It was kind of a
Rance McGrew.
charming, funny one. I appreciate
I'm
it
gonna
for
start
that.
calling people I don't like Rance McGrew.
Rance, you got you, Rance McGrew.
Oh my gosh.
I want to use that too now.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
was Showdown with Rance McGrew, and then we get to season 3, episode 36. I Sing the Body Electric, which I probably had the most notes for, to be honest with you.
And this one, I mean, definitely storyline would probably be pretty recognizable. To a lot
Written
of
by
folks.
Ray Bradbury. Did you catch that at the beginning?
Yes, I did catch
Yeah.
that. Ray Bradbury, kind of one of the prolific horror writers of the time.
Yep. So
yeah.
it starts out.
So we start off.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'll launch into it. Yeah, we start off in this mansion. There's these, the old kids in the staircase scene. And at what first I thought was their nanny was pretty much chastising them for, being kind of unruly kids.
I also thought it
some
was.
degree.
I also thought it was a nanny.
And essentially like, hey, your father's doing a bad job of parenting you, and he's never around and he's never present. And she's like, I can't be around if our kids are going to be like, I'm going to use the word heathens. She did use the word heathens, but I mean, she pretty much suggests it.
Basically, what she meant. Yeah.
So she storms out of the house, and the father, who I kept thinking like, man, the guy's old enough to be their grandpa, but okay, father, sure.
Well, yeah, and she like chastises those kids right to their faces too.
Oh, she does.
Like, your
I mean, she
mother died,
absolutely-
now you're terrible. Like, holy.
Yeah,
lady.
she absolutely digs into him, like evil stepmother times
like
10.
Whoa.
And so then when she leaves, the father kind of gets pretty somber, and he's like, love you kids have plenty of. But, time and attention, yes, I can't give you that well. And so what was it? Was it the boy who sees the ad?
The boy has an ad, and it's an ad. They kept
in
saying
Modern Science magazine.
They kept saying
yeah.
it's an electric data processing unit, is what they kept
Yeah,
calling it. It was a robot, but they kept calling it an electric data processing unit.
And they're like, what's that, Daddy? And they're like, well, it's a unit that processes electronic data. I mean, essentially,
Right. And then for number one, the name of the company is called I Sing the Body Electric, which is weird. It's a weird name for a company. Very weird name.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna get we could go down a rabbit hole here, but so they go to I Sing the Body Electric. It's like a storefront,
which is like this,
which is very weird. They walk in, everything's really dark. You see like some eyeballs, you see some, and the whole time I was like, this is really weird. Like these robots aren't pre-made. You're going to make it.
Well, and not to mention, like nobody was alarmed by the fact that they stepped into the store. It's pitch black, and like the light of the door disappears behind them, and some creepy dude all of a sudden has a light flash on him.
The creepiest guy ever. Yeah, thin.
It may as well have been like
thin
what's his
pencil
face?
Mustache.
Vince. Who's that old horror actor? Can't remember his name.
I know
but
what
anyway.
you're talking about, yeah. But so he's like, you can. He's very strange because he's like, you can have these eyes or these, and he like caresses.
Brown, blue.
He like
black.
touches one of the arms, like rubs it, and he's like, She could be thin or sturdy. And I was like, holy, what's happening here?
I like how like sturdy was kind of like a byword, like
Yeah.
their old byword for fat.
I was
Just
like,
she can be sturdy.
I was like, this place right now in this day and age would be crawling with degenerates.
And the dad, like, I think the dad seemed somewhat like off put by this whole place, but the kids were just like,
oh yeah,
no,
only
Dad, this is
only
great.
two of the kids. There was one very smart kid who was always against all this, and
oh yeah, that's right. She's the one that left, and they're like, who cares what she thinks?
The other kids
She's
were like,
always
let's
like
make
that.
it look like our mom. Like, maybe don't do that, probably.
God, yeah. So essentially, these kids go about the job of picking out physical features.
Yeah, picking
what
out
is soon to
eyeballs,
be
picking
their
out
nanny.
ears, picking out hair, and throwing it down a chute that goes to the construction of the robot, which I thought was also very strange.
Which I hope they're doing one at a time, because that could get really messed
They
up.
must be.
Oh my gosh.
And then you go down so it goes to like, I think he says it'll take like 2 weeks. It kind of flashes forward to that time. You see like this older woman walking down the street. Kind of they made her try to walk like a robot, I feel like. She's very stiff-legged, stiff-armed. There's a scene there's a scene where she runs at one point where I was just laughing because she's running like the Liquid Metal Terminator, with like dart hands.
Mm-hmm.
She did her best to do the whole robot shtick. So I'll give her points for that.
So yeah, they're like, "Oh, you must be a robot." And she's like, "What are you going to call me?" And for some reason they call her grandmother.
Yeah, which they named her grandma.
They already have a grandmother. Why do they need to have this one called grandmother? It's very strange. And obviously, Anne is definitely doesn't want to talk to it. And she's like, "Oh, there's a cool kite. You should fly it." And he's like, "I don't have any string." And she's like, "Look at this." And somehow she just has string for the kite that flies up into the air.
It was pretty interesting, like almost like a Swiss Army bot.
And then
it felt pretty imaginative for the time.
Right. And then after that, there's the scene she holds out her hand and 2 marbles appear. And I was like, I was like, is the twist going to be this robot's the devil?
Well, all I wrote in my notes was like, is she magic? Like,
exactly.
I understand the string coming out of the finger.
I was like, so the robot's the devil, I guess.
Materializing out of nothing. That was a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah. So Anne doesn't like her at all. She starts in that. So they all go into the house. He cuts forward. She's obviously cooking, cleaning, doing all the things that like a nanny would do. Anne still hates her, obviously.
Yeah, I think she's like the older sister.
She's like the oldest one. Yep. She doesn't like her.
Her.
Doesn't like her. She tells her she's just a robot. You're just a machine. They're gonna go get like ice cream, but she takes off running. The robot takes off running after the grandmother goes with her freaking dart hands. God, I thought that was.
We'll call her G1000.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Gets to her, has a little conversation with her. Anne tries to run away, almost gets hit by a truck. Almost honestly, probably kind of looks like, now that I think of it, it might have been the exact same truck as the one in A Nick of Time.
Dun, dun,
and it definitely looked a lot the same. And yeah, so she pushed it out of the way. The truck, you get either hits grandmother or runs her over. And the guy in the truck's just like, oh my gosh. And grandmother starts getting up. And I wrote down the machine's so she's indestructible. She had absolutely no damage. So for one, that we should kill it. Get rid of this. Kill the company. We need to be done with it. This is crazy. And then she starts like doing this hand thing where she replays what Anne said to her, which is really weird when Anne thinks she died, because she's like showing her all the bad things Anne said to her, which I thought was very creepy.
The way I describe it, like if I was to put this episode in a nutshell, right, is like almost robot Mary Poppins.
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of like that. But
except not everyone likes her right away.
At one point,
robot Mary Poppins.
At one point, she talks about loving the kids, and I was like, the machine is sentient at this point. We need to get rid of it. But now it's indestructible. So like this, we're going off a ledge here. So then all of a sudden Anne loves the machine and blah 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 blah. And then you cut forward to the kids are older. They're like 20, or they're probably like graduating high school or have graduated. They're all leaving.
I think one was going into college or something. Yeah,
they're all leaving the house. They're talking about how she's just gonna go to a warehouse, maybe get ripped apart and built into another one, and they'll have all her recordings so they can make better ones, and she'll just live there forever. But then she starts talking about having a soul and having dreams, and I was like, these robots need to die very quickly. This is where Terminator starts.
Feels very Bicentennial Man, like the Robin Williams movie. Definitely getting a lot of that.
It was
honestly, this to me like the way they were describing it, the way she was talking, almost seemed very on point for like modern AI. Because at one point, I put in my notes, she references the room of voices. So
Yeah.
essentially, that's like her essence or whatever goes into this room with the essences of all the other robots, and they like talk to each other and share information.
Yeah.
So then they can then use that information. It's like holy crap!
Yeah,
They're like
it's
describing
AI. Yeah, it's basically
generative AI
generative
before
AI.
it's a thing.
in a machine that's indestructible. So like, yeah, I don't know. And then
And we're talking like 70 years ago, folks.
yeah, and
I mean,
at the
that's
end
pretty
she's
insane.
like basically crying as she's leaving the house. So it's like, yeah, this thing is sentient. This is bad. This is 1960. We're talking about sentient AI robots.
Yeah, but they like basically she just become like a surrogate grandmother to these kids, and they didn't want to see her go. And it was pretty brutal the way she described, like, oh yeah, I'll probably be disassembled, my parts used for other things. It's like, wow, lady,
Right.
way to break it to him easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have said I was going to a farm upstate with other grannies.
Yeah, and then you never saw the dad again. So I don't know if that was like the dad died or they just they just didn't care. I don't know. So yeah, that was a single body electric with terrifying AI robots that shouldn't exist.
And I think we are good to jump into episode 8, which almost kind of staying a little bit on theme.
Yeah, which was season 5, episode 20, From Agnes with Love, which was very weird that the random number generator picked 2 very close episodes that are technically 2 seasons apart.
Is it just coincidence, folks?
No, it's AI probably.
I think we should ask that. I think we should ask that question machine at the diner.
Right.
It's the AI wanting you to see more AI things.
Exactly. Basically. So this one starts out, you see a bunch of calculations on like a board. The 2 guys are in like an office talking. They get a phone call.
Stereotypical like 60s sci-fi light board computer thing.
They get a phone call. The guy's like, it's the general, and the other guy just like waves his hand. And the guy's just like, well, we can't make Agnes work right now. She's on the fritz or something. And he's like, call tomorrow. So it's like, you're just going to have this general keep calling you. You could like give him a timeline. Like, he's just going to call tomorrow. You're going to tell him the same thing. Like, Agnes is on the fritz. We can't figure it out. Like,
relax, guy. Just call me later.
75 cents a phone call.
And then you get kind of I don't like so they added some very weird music choices, I feel like, in this episode. I don't know if you guys really paid much attention.
It was when they were in the room.
Yeah, it
was always like,
what you're talking about?
It was always like beep ba doop ba deep ba deep. It was like, what is
they had to give her emotion somehow because you can't see her.
No, I'm talking about like the music over the things that were happening.
Oh yeah.
Well, I wonder if it was music or they were trying to actually convey that was like the sound the machine made.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because it was so advanced or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. So you get introduced to the main character who's just a stereotypical nerd, like 100% stereotypical.
Yeah.
He even talks like one.
Short,
very nasally,
nasally, short, very small.
Yep. They're like, hey, you need to come. Agnes isn't working. We can't figure out how to get her working. And they get in there, and this guy's covered in like paper, and he's like losing his mind, and Agnes is making a bunch of beeps and blurps and shooting more paper out of these things. And there's like a thing opening and closing on it. And yeah, he doesn't really say anything, but he's like, the boss is like, you've done very well for us with Agnes, but we're gonna relieve you of your duties. And I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he's like, this guy's going to take over for you. And he's like, this guy, he can't handle that. And then as he's walking out, he says, what does he say? He says, like, you can't handle this female, this femme fatale.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, something like that.
It was something along those lines. Like it was referenced again in the episode. They says the exact same thing. So yeah, he
starts his job as a program. I think they call themselves programmers, like a senior programmer for Agnes.
Yep. In which Agnes is this giant computer on the wall, which opens and closes and tells you answers to calculations. Basically, it is AI.
Yeah, and
the supercomputer.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, how is it answering those questions? Is that supposed to be a printer behind there? Is it a screen? Is that what they thought a screen looked like? Like, that part just bugged me the whole time. I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, I have the answers and everything. So yeah, basically he's asking Agnes things. Agnes is answering. I should have looked up to see if those answers were actually real answers that he was at.
Well, I think like if I remember right, and this is a dumb thing to remember, but like some of the questions he was asking weren't like, they were like open-ended questions.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the square root of the problem? And it's like, what?
Yeah, he was using it like everybody uses AI now. Like, I don't know the answer, and I don't want
Which
to do
is crazy because
calculations.
they were doing speech recognition back in. So they were talking about let's speak because he was speaking into it and Agnes was listening. So they were talking about
she knew when it
way
was him.
before this was a thing. You know, speech recognition that's crazy to think of. Almost what is it, 60s, almost 70 years ago?
Not that long ago, but I also think the same thing when I watched the old Spy Kids movie. I'm like, that's all things we have now, like talking on watches and all those things. Like, not that crazy.
Right? Crazy things.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah,
then, I think it's like a secretary, right? Like, so he's working with Agnes, and then a secretary knocks at the door. Kind of like I don't know, short hair, glasses. I presume to be attractive for the 50s or 60s. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not throwing shade on anyone here. Don't get me wrong.
Casey wasn't
throwing shade.
We're going back to Eye of the Beholder here.
Yeah,
Eye of the Beholder. Yeah,
She
she
might as
might
well
have a
been
big
pig
nose
face.
and a
Wasn't
curved
fan
lip.
of 60s
I was
nerd.
not into it.
I was not into it. Yep, and then so he's kind of like in love with her, and then Agnes starts telling him that like all women are the same.
And then he
telling him
she
some
tells
very
him,
very strange things, basically.
Yeah, tells her to ask her on a date. Well, first does he go on a date first, or does he offer the flowers first?
I think. Oh god.
No, he brings her. So he brings her chocolate covered strawberries or something.
Oh
And
yeah,
she
they have like an.
She says she's on a diet, and that she doesn't want those. But then I don't know. I feel like she turned him down, but it was very mean because she was like,
No, yeah. Well,
make sure you get your money back.
Yeah,
is what she said.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was like, holy! But then she agrees to go on a date with him later. But I was like, jeepers! She's like,
and
make
it's
sure
like
you
to
get your
like
money
read.
back.
Yeah, it's like to read one of like the books or something, and so he's sitting there doing like the whole like reading through it the whole time, and she's like setting the mood, like turning off the lights and all these things. He's like, I can't read if you turn the lights off.
Oh, real quick, the thing came back to my memory. So it was about like the chocolates, right, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they did this bit, and maybe I was supposed to get something out of it. Maybe this person was supposed to be recognizable. But anyway, after this bit, every time he goes out of the hallway, and there's this blonde woman like carrying papers or whatever. I assume another secretary or something like that. And he like hands the box of chocolates to her, like, here you go.
Yeah, and they do that bit the
anyway.
whole time. Every time he goes in the hallway, she's there and he hands her something.
And she always gives this like look like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Yeah, so he's reading a book on Einstein. And the girl that he's like obviously trying to date wants him, and it's like,
or at least is giving him a shot.
It's like the Big Bang Theory, just not even no clue whatsoever with women or whatever. And he's like, but I thought we could talk about Einstein's or something else besides Einstein's theories that go against Einstein. And she was like, no.
No.
And I was with her. I'm like, dude.
He was like, fine. He's like, oh, fine then. How about some champagne? And he pops the champagne. I thought, ooh, you did that good. Then he just spills it all over, like,
yeah,
like obviously the acting,
point,
but he's just like, whoa, just everywhere.
At that point, I mean, she already seemed pretty sick of it for the night. But at that point, it was she just used that as like the excuse to like, I'm getting out of here. This is ridiculous.
Yep. And then Agnes,
like, don't call me back.
And then so Agnes, he's talking to Agnes in the next scene, and Agnes says, "Well, how was the date, or how's your dating life?" And he's like, "This is not what we're supposed to talk about." And then they start talking.
He's like, "Stay on point, Agnes."
Yeah, and he's
answer
like,
the question.
And then she's like, "Well, how did it go?" And he's like, "Oh, it didn't go. It went so good." And he's like, "It went terrible. I spilled champagne all over." And he's like, "But she's gonna give me another chance." And Agnes is like,
bring her flowers.
Bring her flowers. Yep. And then he brings her roses, and she's allergic to roses. And then he's talking to Agnes again, and she's like, I keep saying she, but she's a computer. But
I mean, we're here.
Yeah.
Who gets the roses though?
He says something along the lines of like, everything you tell me to do goes wrong and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Agnes goes, who's
the most like
who's the most under you or something along those lines?
But it's like bring an inferior,
who's
like introduce her to an inferior male.
Yeah,
or something
introduce
like
her
that.
an inferior male, and she's like, the third floor, and he says some guy's name.
The guy with the blue race car.
Another senior programmer.
I actually wrote this down because he says the guy with the red convertible, and she's like, no, the blue. She's like, incorrect, the blue one. And I was like, how does Agnes know that it's blue?
She's super smart. They load information
into
her.
How does Agnes know that all? Can she also see like AI can today? So then, and then there's like a really weird scene with all three of those guys at this other guy's house.
Yeah, because Agnes tells him to like, well, introduce them, and they're like, yeah, we thought it'd be a good idea for you to like meet up before we go out to dinner. And then they open the door, and he's like, oh my god, you didn't tell me she was the most attractive lady ever. And like they're immediately just like macking on each other, and he's just not picking up on anything. And then he gets
And this dude's presumed to be like some 50s, 60s like hunk or whatever.
Yeah. He's the like makes all the money.
I believe the main character
tries to
actually calls him a sex fiend at one point in time.
Yeah, he does actually,
because after he gets forced to leave because they need this information for NASA for some calculations, I believe is what they were trying to figure out.
So the whole thing he was supposed to be programming was like going around Venus or something.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, we got to leave." And the guy's like, "Well, you got to leave. Like, we're still going to go to dinner. Like, you got to leave. We're going to still figure this out here." And then does he go back and she's still there or something like that?
Yeah, he goes back.
I think it was the next day.
No, he goes back to their house and she's like dancing or something. He's like, I need her help or something along those lines.
I didn't know she could dance that well. And then that's when he goes back and he's like, yeah, it was terrible. Like, why would you tell me to go introduce her to him? That sex fiend. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then they start getting into it, and Agnes says something along the lines of, I'm the one that's in love with you.
He's like, who? She's like, there's somebody that's better for you. And he's like, who? And like, oh, she plays chess. She does all these things. And then
she understands you.
And he's like, who is it? And she doesn't answer. And then he walks away because somebody talks to him. And then like the door finally opens and it's like, it's me. Yeah.
And then his brain basically just breaks.
Yeah. She goes full crash out on like, I love you. You need to love me. And then some guy walks in the room and he's like, what's happening? We need those calculations. And then Agnes just starts speaking Russian and some other things and says 2 + 2 is 4, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then does Russian. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy walks out, and then like you mentioned, the scientist that realizes that his creation falls in love with him just goes absolutely insane because, oh my god, what did I create? What is happening? And then it just kind of cuts to him going back to his office and like taking his name off the door and just like psychotic laughing and leaving the door.
Yeah, but first the sex fiend guy is the one that's going to replace him.
Oh yeah.
And you get that circular. He says, "Watch out for that female, that femme fatale." And then he walks outside. Yeah, and then he hands his. I'm pretty sure he hands his name tag to the lady. I'm pretty sure that's walking in the hallway to end the episode.
Yeah, and then you get the.
So if we're keeping count, it was the chocolates, the flowers, and now the plaque.
And now the plaque. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go back to the commentator and he's just like, keep in mind for all of you scientists out there, like make sure you know women before you start creating these things or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're not good with women. I was like, what the heck?
So yeah, that was that one.
And this is kind of like, I know we talked a little bit at the beginning, but this is one of those episodes, kind of a foreshadowing of more modern storylines.
Mm-hmm.
I never actually watched the movie, but I think it was called Her.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like it felt like Her, but I never watched Her, so I wasn't sure how dark that got because doesn't have murder or something.
I don't think Her gets very dark. I think it's supposed to be more of like a comedy drama-ish type thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, countless other like kind of machine love storylines, like definitely been done. But
yeah,
looking back, right, it feels kind of cool to watch some of the progenitors of all those.
Yep. Like I mentioned at the start, it's like a lot of these were just like, oh, this was where this kind of general idea came from.
Yeah, and then we go to season 5, episode 30, The Jeopardy Room.
The Jeopardy Room. And this one starring a lot of people might recognize him: Martin Landau, John Van Drielen, and Bob Keljan. Didn't quite know how to pronounce it.
Nice.
Yeah, Martin Landau, pretty big back in the, I would say, 70s, 80s, 60s.
Right. This one starts out with a guy laying on a bed, gets a phone call. The guy on the bed is Russian.
Major Grachenkov.
I think the guy on the phone is supposed to be Russian. I feel like the accent changes throughout this whole thing.
I think that guy was supposed to be Russian, but he did. I don't think he was really trying too hard.
So the guy on the phone starts telling him that he has friends. They're like, friends are going to come help you out. You kind of get that he's in trouble with something in Russia. I think it's supposed to play out like he's a defector, I believe.
Yeah, he's like a political dissident. Yeah. Went against the, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what to call it.
So the camera kind of pans out the window and goes to like not that far away where this
Yeah,
other
it was
window
like
is, and the guy is
across an alley.
talking on the phone. One guy has a gun trained on the political dissident, and he's talking on the phone. And there's no way that guy does the guy never look out his window ever. Like they're right there. I don't even think it was across an alley. Like it looked like the same building, just like maybe like an air conditioning part unit. Maybe it was like it was crazy.
And and it's you think maybe it wasn't that well lit, so maybe he couldn't actually see out there. But
yeah, and then,
at least the way they're portraying the scene, it looked like you'd be able to see him.
My other problem was he's being cautious. He doesn't want to get caught. He's so paranoid. His windows are open the whole time.
Oh, wide
He
open.
never once closes the curtains.
Nope. But yeah, we kind of zoom in. Yeah, to your point, this hotel room, guy on the phone. There's Boris. I can't remember the other guy's name. I forgot to write it down.
I can't remember either, but yeah. Well,
but Boris is kind of the henchman holding the gun.
Who really wants to shoot the guy.
Yeah, he's like, hey, can we just shoot him and get it done with? Because apparently they were here to take care of him because he was trying to flee.
Yeah, they were going to assassinate him.
The way they described it, they were in a neutral country, and so he was actually trying to flee. I think he had a flight going out like the next day or something like that.
Yep, something along those
lines.
So
they had to take care of him before he left.
Yeah, and the other guy that wants to kill him starts going into this whole shooting him is too easy. I want it to be an imaginative.
He's like, you're like a butcher. I am like an artist.
I want it to be an imaginative execution, which is like, why? Like, what?
Dude was a sociopath.
Is this like? Are you Saw? Like,
yeah, you know what? It's funny. I kind of had that in my notes. Like this episode started to feel like that.
Yeah. So he
talks Boris down essentially, and he's like, "No, we're gonna do it my way. We're gonna do it like artistically. We're gonna do it like gentlemen in a way." And so he actually goes over to the dude's apartment, knocks on the door, and obviously this guy's spooked because he's on the run. He knows it. He knows they're probably after him. Opens the door. It's the gentleman that was, chastising Boris for being a brute. So he lets him in, and he kind of goes on this whole spiel, about, hey, like, we know what you did.
Yep, we're here to have
ways of going about this.
We're here to. Oh yeah, he does start talking about like how he has the gun on him the whole time too. He has a gun trained on him like the entire time. And then so he starts getting in. Yeah, he starts like admitting that he's there to kill him.
Oh yeah.
He's like, well, we should probably at least share a drink. He's like, I'm not drinking that. So he drinks it. The bad guy drinks it, and then Krishenko, he takes a swig, and nothing happens. So he takes another swig, and then he starts like his eyes start rolling back in his head, and he starts getting. Why doesn't he just shoot him at that point? So he still has the gun. He could still shoot him while he's passing out.
One note here. So I was watching it with my wife, and what she said, it kind of reminded her of Princess Bride, the whole because he was like kind of immune to the poison sort of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because he was like, I could drink a gallon of that stuff. I don't know if he actually said what it was.
No, yeah, he said it was some form of poison, but he had like experienced it before, and he's like kind of built up a resistance to it.
Yeah, very.
So Martin Landau passes out, wakes up. Ends up hearing the phone ring, and this is like we referenced it earlier, but this is where I really got that like sob moment.
Well, no, because it was a recording. It was on like a tape recording.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't the phone. My apologies, audience. But yeah, it was a tape recording, and it was very much in that saw mode of like, hey, I put you in this situation that you have to get out of. You have a certain amount of time, and what it was is he actually calls it out, a booby trapped, which is funny to hear that term.
Yep, booby trapped. He booby trapped something in the room that you'll have to try to find before you can leave.
Yes, he says you must find it. I think it was like 3 hours or something like that?
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours or something.
He gave him like a length of time. He's like, hey, you have to find it. If you try to escape, you'll be shot. If you try to call for help, you'll be shot. If you try to do this, yada, yada, yada. Kind of goes through this, so he spends the next however long searching through the room.
Just really quick, so that you go back to them still watching him across this tiny little space where the windows are basically like connected, and Boris the whole time is like watching, and he's like, it's in this place. And he's like, you would think that, and he's like, he didn't show him where the booby trap was.
No,
or he didn't. Or Boris didn't watch him set the booby trap.
I loved that bit though, because like Boris, it's just like it just reinforces the fact Boris is like this dumb henchman type. Like, yes, you are the butcher. The way you do things is like very savage,
right? And then
I'm doing things sophisticated.
So the time runs out, and he does tell Boris that it's in the phone. No, because he picks up the phone and nothing happens.
Well, no, because the whole time, like when Boris kept guessing, like, hey, is it in there? Is it in there? He was actually doing this like, you're cold. Very cold. Oh, you're getting warmer, Boris.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he's like, oh, he's going for the phone. It's got to be the phone. He's like, you're very hot. So he picks up the phone. Boris is like, nothing happened. So he puts the phone back down, and he's like, yes, but I have it rigged so it has to ring first, which is pretty ingenious, but also silly because they could have just killed this guy.
And to be honest, this guy's like on knife's edge as it is, so he's probably not going to trust a phone call coming in anymore.
Right. So then the other bad guy, he calls the phone. Phone starts ringing. Martin Landau's character goes to about to pick up the phone, and he doesn't pick up the phone. He's like, oh, maybe not. And then
he lets it ring through.
Yeah, lets it ring.
And then
through.
he tries calling again. So the dude, bad dude, calls the operator again. Tries to ring the phone again, but then it's at that moment as the phone rings, he actually bolts out of the room.
Yeah, as they're shooting at him, the guy with Boris starts
he's
shooting
at him, but he misses, hits the door frame, and then you kind of go a little bit later. They obviously didn't catch him. They're both in the hotel room. It's like, oh, he got away, and it's like, we'll catch him in the next city.
Yeah, we'll catch him in the next city. It's no big deal. And then the phone rings.
This cool guy gets the cigarette out of the cigarette case, and
And then the phone rings, and you get that. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, but you get the Boris, no, and Boris picks up the phone, and then there's like an explosion. And I was like, holy buckets! Like,
I
this
loved
is
it.
just silly.
I loved that ending, man. It was just, I mean, obviously the effects were probably as good as they could be in the 50s and 60s.
Right?
But
yeah, I didn't have a problem with the effects. It was just like that's the twist. Boris picks up the phone. I mean,
yeah, he's the dumb henchman. They're just always the dumb henchman throughout the episode.
And then Martin Landau's character is calling from the airport, and then he obviously gets away. So now
he has this like kind of relieved look in his face, like, I got away. I outsmarted you.
All right, and then
and that was the Jeopardy room.
That was the Jeopardy room. Then we head to season 5, episode 36, the Bewitching Pool.
The Bewitching Pool. Dunkel, you want to launch us into this one?
Kind of like it does like one of those movies where like they give you the ending and then they go into like what the episode is going to be. So that kind of threw me at first, I'm not going to lie, but it kind of just goes into like this mom and dad where he's coming home from work and the wife has done absolutely nothing with her day. And it kind of like call the kids over and they're like, hey, like we have something to tell you. We're getting a divorce, and the kids start freaking out like, it's all our fault. It's all our fault. And they jump into the
pool. We'll be better.
Yeah, this is that little bit. That little bit of the middle of this.
Okay, and they look at the kids and they go, but you get to decide. Are you staying with mom or are you staying with me? It's the 60s. It's a different time.
Right. The whole time, though, the mom in that situation is so angry. The whole man. She's not a loving mother. She's so pissed the whole time. Yeah,
because the daughter's like, it's all our fault. I'm sorry. If you didn't have us, you wouldn't be in the situation. She's like, I'll have you know, because of you guys, we decided not to do this. So you need to be a little bit more grateful. Like,
yeah,
what?
Holy, she's so mad for that. She's way too mad for that conversation.
Yeah, they definitely portrayed her as one of those kind of like
lazy mom.
Yeah, fancy, like spoiled housewives, suburban housewives.
Dad makes money, she's his home, and then it's like I can't remember if it was at this moment or later on in the episode where he's like, I'm ready for dinner now or something like that.
That was later, yeah.
Yeah, and she's
like,
like
after this conversation, the kids go into the pool, start yelling for auntie.
Now, before we get to that,
huh?
So the one thing that caught me right away, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, is I think the girl's voice was dubbed.
The whole thing, I noticed the whole thing almost looked like it was dubbed.
Yeah, because I'm not going to lie. I sat there thinking.
But it was specifically her voice.
Yeah, I sat there thinking.
And we'll get to it later, but her voice actually changes in different parts of the episode.
I definitely didn't notice that.
Well, you just paid attention.
I think they had to go. What's that?
So you just paid attention too close then.
I guess. I didn't notice that.
They had to, I don't know why, but I think they had
Casey
to
like
over.
Wolf on Wall Street, DiCaprio, where he points that meme where he's like pointing at the screen, whistling, like wait.
Oh, I was. Yeah. No, that was me. That was absolutely me when that was happening.
Wait.
I will not deny
it. Wasn't right. But I did think that. Like I was sitting there, I'm thinking like, why does this like 10-year-old girl sound like she's 65?
It's like this raspy. Yeah. I recognize the voice too, because it was like this kind of raspy, like the older person trying to do a younger person voice.
Yeah. Maybe. So again, like back to like the continuity of this episode, like where like it's the ending, but then it jumps back into the middle of the episode kind of thing. Because they jump in the wall and like, Auntie, let us come back. And then just
can we
go ahead?
We're going to talk about the parents, right?
Okay.
We're absolutely going to talk about the parents in this opening scene, right?
Okay.
Like, what do you mean about the parents? We talked about how the mom was angry.
Yeah.
Well, no. So they get to the pool, right? They jump in the pool, as you called out.
Wait,
Like, oh,
I know what
IT.
you're referring to. Let's wait to the end of that because like I thought the same thing.
Okay.
Like
Okay. Well, I'll save my
the
commentary,
angry
folks.
bad parents thing. I know where you're going with that. Yeah. So then you kind of get back onto the kids, and like it's gonna escape me a little bit like how this lined up, but like the kids are sitting on the edge of the water, and the little boy is sitting there holding his breath, and the little girl's like, "What are you doing?" Like she told me to stay quiet. She's like, "Yeah, stay quiet, not breathe."
Yeah, this is where it like kicks back to the actual beginning of the episode. Yeah. And then
Can
they're
we talk about their names? Because this is where they get into the kids'
Yes.
names.
For the longest time, I
don't know
thought
if
the
you
boy was
remember
like the dad was
Yeah,
just calling
Sport.
like, "Hey, Sport!" Like, oh
Yeah.
nope, that's
Nope,
the
the
daughter's
girl's name
not
is-
a
the girl's
nickname
name
for
is
the boy.
Sport.
Jeb and Sport.
Jeb
Yeah.
and Sport. Perfect names.
Yeah.
You get the kids sitting there. All the mom says most of the time is "you darn loudmouth kids," where they weren't even being that loud. They're like
No,
not even
they were, like,
even for kids. They
having a
weren't being that loud.
conversation
Like
by the pool.
she's like, "You darn loudmouth kids!" Like, holy, what is happening?
Right.
I was like, why
And
would
the
the
dad
kids even
comes in.
question living with their mother instead of their dad?
Yeah. And the dad comes home and like there's this like outside cart with like a bar on it. And immediately the dad goes, opens one of the bottles, pours a drink. He's like, "Hey, what were you doing in town today?" You know, presumption being like, "Hey, you're probably out, messing around with some other guy out there."
Right?
or
Yeah, and she
something like
says
that.
something like, "I was auditioning for something." He's like,
A modeling. She was doing a modeling
He
career.
he just laughs at her.
Because she's like, I'm tired of not utilizing my talents. And he's like, talents?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
terrible 60s
It's like,
dad.
was it like it was something like you were a singer this week, you're an actor like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
or
what's
something like that.
next? Yeah, what's next? And then yeah, that's where he, like you said, eventually it gets to like he walks up and he's like, "I'll have my dinner now." And she's like, "Well, you have to make it yourself," or something like that.
Yeah, you gonna talk to me like that and expect me to make you some food?
And
So, like,
she says something like, "Most people have maids and stuff for that," and he's like, "Well, what would you do then?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus. Very 50s.
Just terrible
again,
to each
very
other.
50s.
Yeah, very
Um,
very.
Yeah, so kind of getting back to the kids about how they're sitting on the edge of the water and what they dreamed that the situation they can be in. The little Sport, she brings up Huckleberry Finn and like what they wish they could be kind of thing. And then out of nowhere you see, which I'm guessing is a representation of Huckleberry Finn, but the kid's name is not Huckleberry, it's just
No, it's
a straw.
Wit.
Yeah. Did
His
you
name's
not like
Wit.
his name?
It's not Huckleberry. It's Wit.
I know.
Wit, Jeb, Sport.
Wit,
Jeb,
Jeb,
Sport, and Wit.
Sport. Yep. He's like, "Come with me."
Yeah, and he's sitting there like swimming in like a flat, very Huckleberry Finn looking straw hat, very
Mhm.
country boy, jumps in the water, swims under it, and he's gone. And they follow him. I'm like, okay, that's just terrifying. So then that just set the tone for me of like, okay, so this is just like Peter Pan, but like underwater instead of into the sky.
Kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So they dive
bit.
into the water and they come up in a lake on the opposite side, and Quit is sitting there just laughing at them, and you see all these kids just like playing on the bank, and then Sport and Wit get into it about like, we're gonna throw down. She's like trying to punch him. And,
Yeah,
like,
because she says some idea of what she thinks happened or something like that. He's just like, "Ah,
Yeah, but you gotta
like,
catch
the,
me. And
the
he's
fakest laugh ever.
sprints into the house, and he's like, Auntie T, she's gonna hit me. And then like she turns. I love this so much. She turns around. She's like, well, we better play fair. And she grabs into a cabinet. And she grabs boxing gloves and hands the kid. She's like,
Absolutely. I
nothing
wrote
more
that,
I loved on
I
T.
wrote
cheap
that down
shots?
too. Yeah, she
No
was like,
cheap
I
shots?
loved on T,
she
man.
said, "No hits below the belt, no hitting a man while he's down. Here's your boxing gloves. Go take care of it outside." I was like, yes.
Yeah, I was like, take care of your problems. Here's some boxing gloves.
so
Like,
she
yes,
still
oh,
sends him
T.
to walk outside. Is this the part where I can't remember what she was doing at the time because they go back a couple times? Was this the part where she lets
She was
him
just doing
frost
the
the
cake.
cake?
Yeah, she was just frosting
Yeah,
the
she
cake.
was
the little
frosting the cake,
boys,
yeah.
Jeb starts frosting the cake, and they turn around. They're like, "Oh, you guys are done fighting already?" Like, well, no, we want to frost the cake too.
Yeah, we
That
also
looks
want to
fun.
frost the cake. Yeah.
That looks nice.
And then yeah, you get they're
you get
like
the
talking, and you hear
mom
their
and
mom
dad.
calling. Yeah,
Yeah,
and she's like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Oh, that's just your." I don't even think she says your parents. She's like, "Oh, some people hear that for a little bit,
yeah.
and then
It goes away
eventually goes
after
away."
a
It
while.
goes away after a while. Yeah.
And
a little bit creepy
at
there.
this point, I was like, this makes Auntie so scary because she's talking about the kids being gone long enough the parents stop looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And presumably all the kids there.
Right.
this
Presumably
point,
all the
gone
kids
through
there
that.
have been literally kidnapped, and that's what Sports says. She's like, "You're a kidnapper," and she's like, "I'm not a kidnapper. You came here by yourself." I was like, "I don't like this." I don't
At
like
this
at
point,
all.
that's like, okay, so now we're just Hansel and Gretel with the witch. Like, that's what you are at this point.
Yep. And then Sports starts saying like, "Oh, our parents aren't bad. They love us." And she's like, "Well, you can't stay here then." And then she starts like hushing. Like, you gotta
Yeah, because
go
he
back.
was
to-
he
Jet,
was
go
back
back.
Go. Jet was like, I don't
because
want to go
she
back
was back
there.
home, and then she's like, Mom says we have something to talk to you about. Things are going to change around here. And she's like, oh, we're going to like start doing things, and like Mom and Dad are going to be better. So like she gets Jeb to go back, and that's when she mentions like, oh, you guys don't need to be here. Like, you'll be fine. And they go back, and like this is cycling back to where like Mom and Dad are like, hey, we're getting divorced. You get to decide, kind of thing. Where do you want to be?
And this, can I launch into it
Yeah,
now? Just like how terrible these
oh,
kids
yeah.
The
are.
kids
I
jump
mean, I
back
know
in the
we haven't
water
settled
and
it right
go
for
right
it,
ahead
yeah.
on your tangent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just like absolutely terrible to each other. Zero attention paid to the kids except for yelling at them. And then like the gall to say like, hey kids, you decide who you go with. Like,
Oh
just,
yeah, it's crazy. That's a crazy thing. You guys get to decide.
like no direction whatsoever. Absolutely non-existent parents.
No, it's nuts. And then Sports starts yelling at them. They take off for the pool. They jump in, and this was the part where they're also bad. Parents are standing by the pool yelling at these kids. You kids get back here, blah blah blah. The kids dive down. They're not coming back up. If you think your kid's drowning, the dad takes his shoes and his coat off first.
Mhm.
That is not my first. That
the-
was not my first thought. If a kid's drowning in a
This is
pool.
the part that I thought House was upset about, where they're just like, they're both standing edge, like, oh no, I think they're drowning. I think they're drowning.
Yeah.
I was like,
they're like
Get in the
standing there
water.
for a significant
Get in the
amount of
water.
time.
The one thing she goes, they've been down there a while, and he just goes,
You think we should do something?
He just goes, I know. What?
They're just like totally acknowledging the
She's
fact
like, God,
their
do
kids are
something. And
probably
then, he
drowning.
kicks his shoes off in his coat. Like, that's not your most important things at the moment.
yeah, and then he swims up. He's like, they're not down there. And
They're
then
not down there. She's like, that's impossible.
and like, I'm sorry, but she did a very terrible acting job of somebody who just lost their kids in a drowning
Oh,
accident.
yeah, it
'Cause
was-
she's like, oh my god. You think like the traumatic moment would be like she's jumping in and looking and yelling at him like, what do you mean they're not down there? You're just like wading water. Like, yeah, they weren't there.
Chalked it up to like that kind of 60s overacting, of like,
Yeah, pretty much.
I
yeah.
have to convey the emotions so
Yeah,
much.
but
Definitely
awful.
overacting. So yeah,
Um,
then they go back to Aunt T's place.
Yeah, and they cycle back to there sitting there with Auntie, just kind of having food, and then you get Sport kind of hears that first like very subtle whispering of like,
Yeah, she hears just a tiny
"Kids,
whisper.
kids, and she's like, what was that? Anyway, you guys want to pass some of the food, please?
Yep. And then they stay there.
Yeah. So like,
And I didn't blame him
And then
one
they
bit.
stay there.
yeah, my only
I mean,
note.
boxing gloves and chocolate cake, I'll take that all day over stinking.
Oh, come on.
terrible
Don't, like,
parents.
holy buckets. So yeah, then they stay there. And,
Yeah,
their
so my only
parents don't
notes
have
were-
kids anymore.
This is Peter Pan with water, and they're dead.
I don't think they're
Yep.
they're not dead.
Not dead.
I mean,
no.
They were with Aunt T.
No, it's like a magical portal at the bottom
Yeah.
of the pool.
You
Even
know,
Rod
like,
Serling,
do you know, like the
addresses
deep
it.
dark story of Peter Pan? Like that's why everybody's kids, and that's why they never get old, is because it's kids that died when they were young.
No, I decided not to spoil my childhood.
Okay, well
apparently.
now you know. That's why Peter Pan and like Neverland, like that's why all the kids never grow up, because they were children that are dead, and that's why all
Yeah.
the kids with Aunt T are still kids. Yeah,
Maybe.
you're never gonna look at Peter Pan the
Nope.
same ever again. You're welcome.
No, I'm not. But I'll tell you what, I want me some
Berg
Aunt
over here
T.
googling it just
Like-
to make sure. He's like, oh my god.
I'll hang out with Aunt T any day. Set out like kids. Take these boxing gloves
Oh, yes.
outside.
Except for
Loved
in the
it,
Peter
loved
Pan
it.
universe, you're just forever doomed to fight a pirate.
That's true. But that was Twilight Zone, or at least 10 episodes of it.
Yeah.
10
And
episodes.
folks,
of it
I know
for
you're
sure,
thinking
yeah.
out there, you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you cover all the ones we like? Well, hey, we're at the mercy of the randomizer god, so we cannot choose.
Yep, maybe
Yeah.
we'll do it again when
But,
we hit 20 episodes.
Yeah, I cut a few extra
Maybe.
episodes that
You'll have to
were
stick around.
actually like pretty interesting, where it's like, what would happen if a bomb hit kind of thing, and the neighbors kind of go after each other. I did like want to say one thing on it. It was super funny because this bomb is basically gonna come down, and the one neighbor has a bomb shelter, and the other ones don't, and they're all panicking trying to break into this guy's shelter, like, oh, you need to share with us. And the one guy yells at his friend. He just like punches him in the face. He's like, no, I don't like you. I was like, this guy just wanted a reason to hit him. That's all that was. But yeah, we can kind of work our way towards the ratings. But Houseman, how did you feel?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start off here. I'll start with my rating and closing thoughts. So I'm going to give it actually a 1323 out of 1507. I thought overall it was a nice, I know Star Trek was referenced earlier, but I think it was one of those good kind of it wasn't necessarily a moral quandary type story as some Star Trek episodes were,
Mhm.
but definitely one of those, kind of make you think about things.
Yep.
And again, I appreciate going back. Well, for one, like, you look at the cultural differences of the show and what times were like back then, but also just kind of going back to simple cameras in front of, or sorry, actors in front of cameras acting,
Mhm.
just dialogue, and that's
Yep.
it.
For sure.
All through the dialogue.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think overall pretty enjoyable for me.
Yep, I can go. I gave it a pretty high rating. I gave it a 1437 out of 1507.
Wow.
I could literally watch these all the time.
Mm.
Like you said, they're simple, but they're also kind of complicated. I don't know what it is about the black and white, but I just love it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I gave it a pretty high. That's like a 95%, which I think is the highest thing I've rated it so far. But yeah, no, I love the episodes. I love watching it. I'll probably watch more. There's some that obviously I haven't seen, but there's some I have seen, so I'll
Mhm.
probably keep watching it.
Yeah.
Same.
I was around like a 1329, like you guys all mentioned. Like it was refreshing. Like it's amazing how with the lack of CGI and the ability to make these massive sets that feel like they're always happening in New York City and Los Angeles nowadays, the acting just felt a little bit more genuine, a little bit more believable, of like setting you in the moment and the tone of it. Yeah, and like all the stories were interesting. They're very, for me, felt like Black Mirror. Like I know I referenced a lot, but like what would the universe be like, or this is what it could be like, kind of thing, from a different lens. Some of them are actually pretty interesting. Like Bird mentioned, like I could probably sit here all day and watch all 5 seasons of it. It was like, this was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Like
Yeah.
black and white.
And again, a special shout out to Rod Serling and his kind of intros and outros on these. I really like those.
Yeah,
Millennium
very
moment.
much so.
Scott Starling. I want everybody to watch that YouTube. You're welcome.
Yep.
But he always managed to work in Twilight Zone in his like intros and outros too, which
Oh
is
yeah,
even better.
for sure. Always talk
Yep.
about it. So next week we take our phone booth to 2016, where we see Groot help a child with grief. Please follow, like, and give us a rating on all the streaming services. Thanks for
Check
watching.
out our Facebook, check out
Yeah.
our YouTube, check us out wherever you can.
Thanks, everybody.
Catch you later.
Adios.